Well, hello and good morning, everyone. Hi, Val. How are you?
I am doing excellent. How are you?
Oh, just thriving, but casually. We're keeping it
Mm-hmm.
casual, but we're thriving this morning. That's how it's working.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
It's a vibe.
Good morning to everyone, especially our friends. It's San Francisco Design Week. Hi. Val, I know you're also a Californian. Where are you located? You're somewhere upper.
I'm in the Sacramento area, so NorCal girl here.
Yes, and I am down in the SoCal. But if you are at New York, or New York, if you are at San Francisco Design Week, I'll actually be seeing you on Friday. I'll be presenting
Ooh.
on some fun stuff in Illustrator for 3D, which is what we will be doing today, except on iPad. We'll be doing some iPad stuff today in Illustrator on the go, right, Val?
Yeah, I'm super excited about this. This is going to be very fun. Welcome everyone. It's good to see all you folks. I'm so pumped to get to some designing. It's going to be great.
Yes. All right. So, do you want to talk a little bit about who you are, what you do, that kind of stuff? And then I think we can just hop in. It's a short stream, so we can have some fun. We can just kind of vibe. But tell us a little bit about you. And we have someone, sorry, from our live chat. If you're watching this anywhere, hello, thanks for watching. We do have a live chat on Behance. And we have someone from Italy here, someone from Nebraska,
Ooh.
from Uruguay. It's a worldwide phenomenon.
Amazing. Well, I am Voodoo Val. I am an illustrator and designer. I do a lot of streaming on Adobe Live on Behance. I like to paint things of like the dark fantasy nature. I like to do graphic design. I slip some animation in there whenever I can. But today, what we're going to be working on is just a quick and easy way to kind of jump into the tools in Illustrator for the iPad to draw on the go and create like an awesome, adorable little piece to post to your social media or your portfolio, and do it quickly. And I'm gonna kind of take an illustrative approach to this. So if you've never used Illustrator on the iPad, or you use it predominantly for graphic design things, we will have some graphic design elements, but I'm gonna do some drawing
Ooh,
today
fun.
in Illustrator for iPad. So I'm pumped.
Sweet. And it says everyone is sounding off in the chat. We've got Austin, we've got New York, we've got New Zealand, Boston. Nice to see you all, and hopefully you all will be traveling. I know I'll be
Ooh.
traveling up to San Francisco on Friday, and I love taking my iPad on the go. It's just so easy to like be able to work on something, get back home, transfer to desktop, use a cloud document. Like it's just a great workflow. So let's hop over and take a look at your iPad and what we'll be working on today. I'm gonna push a button. Everyone, cross your fingers. It was not the right button. There's the right button. And there we go. There's the iPad. You got to
Okay.
snap it in.
Perfect. So what I'm going to
Perfect.
do, I'm just going to go ahead and start in a new document. I'm probably going to name this. I'm going to be very well behaved. And I'm going to call this the Joyful Pot,
Ooh.
because we are going to be creating kind of an adorable little illustration of a little collection of succulents in a pot that has a cute face, because that makes it 100 times better
Oh,
if it has a cute
100%. Yes.
face.
Cute face plants are the
So
best.
yes, so you can come through and you can go through all of the different I guess preset sizes and things for your document, but I'm just going to keep it small and simple here. I'm just going to do 1,000 by 1,000 square image. I've got mine set to RGB, but if you were going to be, exporting for print or everything, CMYK may be right for you. And I'm just going to use one artboard here. So I'll go ahead and create my file. What I'm going to do first here is I am going to kind of build the framework of the piece. And I'm going to start by creating a little pot. And it's just some simple shapes that we are going to customize with the shape builder tool. So
Ooh,
I'm going to
fun.
come in, I'll grab my shapes here. I'm going to grab my ellipse tool. And I'm going to drag out an ellipse that's just kind of like going to serve as the top of our pot. And just to keep everything visible, I'm going to click here on this bottom circle, which is our stroke for our shape. I'm going to go ahead and turn that stroke off, and then I'm going to change the color of this. Now, I have colors kind of set up in here. I've got some cool color palettes that I've chosen for this, and this just is sampled from my library. So if I back up a little bit,
I was going to say, are
you
you using Creative Cloud libraries here, Val?
I am. So you will see this most likely when you jump into this, especially if you are jumping in for the first time. You'll see your swatches and things here, color books, and then I can just open my libraries here, and I've got a little library called SF Design Week, and in there I have some color palettes that I have chosen, and I'm just going to make this orange, if I can snag that real quick. And then you'll see that as I start to edit this, I get this nice little tool bar down here that allows me to kind of edit this shape that I have selected. And I'm going to hit my duplicate button right there by my little trash can. And I am going to, quick and easy, I'm just going to reshape this, resize this. I will change the color to be a little darker just so I can see it there. And this is going to serve as like the opening for the top of our pot, just like that. And you can see I've got my nice alignment grid kind of snapping here, making sure I'm doing everything fancy, keeping everything all together. And then what I'm going to do is snag myself a little polygon tool. And I'm going to drag out a square, and I'm going to edit this square to kind of create a shape of a pot for us. So
And
I can drag this out. Oh,
I
go
love
ahead.
that we're working with like basic shapes. And this is, I think, where Illustrator on iPad shines, is that it's really, really good for laying down those foundations, for getting your shapes in, and it helps you think differently as you illustrate, as you design.
Yeah.
Like it feels like it breaks the way that I'm like, oh, I want to sketch it. That's like, oh no, let's figure out how to do this with basic shapes. And then I get back to desktop and I'm like, oh, I have all my basic shapes. I know how to do this. And it helps me think differently as I'm illustrating, as I'm designing.
And personally, I like to start out with as basic a base as I possibly can, just to get the framework in before we start to get a little fancy, which we will. Very excited. But what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to stretch this and kind of snap it to the edge of my my ellipse here. And I am going to open my layers panel so I can reorder some things. So you can see I've got my layers panel here. I've got all this stuff grouped together that I'm working on, and I'm just going to long press on this rectangle and drag that down underneath. And we're going to make this look a little, I mean, we could go with this, and I think that there's some styles where maybe a shape like this would lend itself to the project. But what I'm going to do is select my tool here just so that I can start editing the points and things of my shape. And I'm going to drag out a box to edit only these bottom-most corners. And I'm going to snag my little indicator here and just pull this in to round out the shapes of this little pot, just like that.
Look at the little pot.
I know, it's so cute. It's gonna get a lot cuter. So we've got our pot, we've got everything. It's starting to look, you know, kind of bringing flat shapes into a 3D space just a little bit, you know, so you can kind of see what we're going for here. And now I'm gonna use what is probably my favorite tool in Illustrator for the iPad, and that is my pencil tool, because I wanna add a little bit of dirt in my pot here.
Yes.
So over here, you can see we've got this nifty tool right here. We can open it. We've got blob brush, we've got paintbrush. I'm gonna go ahead and add kind of move my little touch tool over so that we can see this better. So there's a lot of cool brushes in here. You can use an actual paintbrush if you want to paint. If we select like a charcoal brush, you can see I can come in here and it'll drag my make a little path for my stroke there, and then it'll transform it into this nice
Keeping it
textured
vector, by the way.
stroke. Yes, keeping it vector, which as somebody that is predominantly like painting in Photoshop, I think that's one of the coolest things ever, is actually having a really nice detailed
Yes.
vector of something. Kind of blows my mind. You can also use the blob brush, which is just this really awesome brush that will kind of expand and grow with you as you continue your stroke around.
It's very like
which is nice.
calligraphic? Is that the word?
Calligraphic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think. Calligraphic.
Yes.
And then, but what I'm going to use is the pencil tool, and the pencil tool is so much fun. I'm just going to go ahead and select kind of a darker color here for our dirt. Right quick, maybe something a little bit lighter. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to draw a little bit of dirt right in there, and that's going to sit in our pot. But it's over the top of all of our shapes here, so what I'd like to do is start editing with my shape builder tool. So with that path selected, I'm going to long press on my my little touch gesture button here. I'm going to select that ellipse. So I've got them both selected, and I'll hit the shape builder tool, which is just these two little squares that are overlapped here in the corner, if I can. Hello. One sec. Let me go ahead and draw this one last time. Boom. I should be able to select, and I'm not able to snag that. 1 second. You know what I'm going to try? Is I'm
Um,
going to go ahead.
it's a closed path? I'm troubleshooting in my brain
Yeah.
as well. I was thinking maybe it's not a closed path. It is a closed path.
I wonder if we can, let's see. I think honestly, I feel like this is something that is probably going to happen to a lot of people, like kind of as you move. So let's just kind of solve the issue here. Let's like figure this out. What I'm gonna
Troubleshoot.
do is I think I'm gonna back up. I think I'm gonna back up and I'm going to make sure that I'm not selected on anything. I'm gonna select my ellipse tool, grab my pencil here, and then go ahead and see if I can just kind of redo from a previous step.
Yep. Are both of
No,
them closed paths? Is the pencil path closed? That would
let
be
me
my only thought,
see.
is maybe the pencil path is open and that isn't allowing it to
I
use the
wasn't,
Pathfinder.
I kind of did like do a little bit of like just kind of allowing it to close itself, but let me make sure that I'm over here and I've closed it. I believe I've closed it. So
I
let's
wonder,
try this
yeah,
again.
maybe pen tool over and see if it's a remove or if it's over that last anchor point on the dirt.
Okay. Let me make sure I'm selected just on this. Yeah, it
It
looks like
looks
it's
like
all if I
it
kind
looks
of.
like it's a closed path.
It looks like it's a closed
It
path,
looks
but what
pretty
I'm gonna
closed.
do is I'm gonna go ahead and I'll move on from that step and we'll come back. I wonder if what we could also do is let me see if hmm I'm gonna try
Ooh,
to do
someone is
it
saying make sure that
just
you're on the select tool. Maybe that's
I've got my selection tool. I've got it. Oh, you know what? You might be a genius. Let me go ahead and go like that. I'm gonna hit my selection tool and then select this
did the
and
chat come
then
through?
boom! Chat came
Tony
through.
Gray.
I
Tony
left it
Gray.
on my pencil tool.
MVP right there. And I love doing these live streams, and that's oops, wrong button. That's why I love Adobe Live. Is it's so easy for us to learn from each other and to help each other. So thank you,
Yes.
Tony. Um,
I'm gonna change the color of this path right quick just so that we can see it because I am using the same colors. So that's actually a really great point. As you're going through your project, make sure to use the select your selection tool so you're not still using your pencil tool before you start using Shape Builder. So I've selected this, I've changed the color. I'm gonna go ahead and now select my ellipse and make sure I've selected my dirt. I'll click my Shape Builder tool. And then I'm going to go into Shape Builder. Now, there's a lot of things you can do. You'll get a nice little preview here of all the things that you can kind of do to the shapes. But I'm going to go into Shape Builder, and all I'm going to do is just drag through this to remove that so that it looks like I've got a little bit of dirt in my pot here. Make sure to click Done. And then I've got my nifty little pot.
yep.
We
And-
are going to need a face.
Yeah, if you're familiar with the Pathfinder tool, that the Pathfinder panel is what we were kind of in, but the Shape Builder tool is just a kind of a physical way to do some of those things, to combine, to subtract. And so you can click, drag over, you can delete things, overlap, bring them together. The Shape Builder tool is really, really easy if you like a more tactile kind of workflow, which when you're on iPad, you probably do. So if you don't know the Shape Builder tool and you're just using Pathfinder, use the Shape Builder tool. It's amazing.
So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this little plus button up at the top here because I'm going to start a new group for what I am going to be creating. I do want to kind of keep this organized as we go through here. So I've got everything that is my pot in one space where I can expand and I can look through all of my different elements of that. And then here what we're going to do is create a nice little face. But I
Yes.
am going to save some time here because I'm going to kind of design half of it and I'm going to mirror it. Because it's very quick, it's very easy, and it saves you time.
Yep, do half the work. Why would you do all the work when you could do half of it?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm just going to go ahead and drag out a little eyeball here. I'm going to hold, as you can see, I'm kind of touching my little gesture up here just so that I can hold and constrain this to be like a perfect circle. I will duplicate it and I'm going to change the color of this duplicated shape to maybe like a bright yellow. And then I am going to resize this. Now I can constrain and resize just so that it is still a perfect circle, or I can touch and drag and it will actually drag from the center. there,
Yep.
and keep it centered to my element here. And then the last thing I want to do is add a little blushy, because it
Blushy.
can't be a cute,
Yes.
adorable pot without a blushy.
Yes, and
So
it's interesting. So the little dot that you all are seeing, if you're not familiar with iPad, up in the top left corner, that little dot is basically like holding Alt or Option on a computer, right? If you're on a desktop, Alt or Option adds those extra little scale from the center, scale proportionally, that kind of stuff. So that's what's happening when you see that little button pressed down. When you see a circle around it, that means you've pressed and dragged it out. So that's like Alt and Shift or something. So it's a really cool workflow. Val, do you find yourself working in a different workflow on your iPad than you do on desktop? Because you are like the most organized person I've ever seen so far in file structure. And I'm like, I would never do that, but I do feel like I would do that on iPad.
I do. I definitely feel like I'm more organized on iPad. I don't. I organize my Photoshop files when I'm streaming, but my Photoshop files in practice, when no one can see my shame, is like 400, 600 layers. None of them are
Yes.
named, and I would say save yourself the pain and just don't do that, and try to keep everything organized.
Yep.
So I've got this eye here. I've got my little blushy, but it is not organized the way that I want it. And we've got this little icon here that will allow me to edit very quickly the stacking order of this. And you could expand this and I could drag that down. But if you want to stay here and just like stay working, all you have to do is select this and then just go ahead and drag that down. And it will just reorder it, and it reorders it within the group. So if you're being organized here, it's going to send it to the bottom of the group, not to the bottom of your entire project.
Yes.
So I've got all of this.
Being able to slide things up and down like that is one of my favorite features, like, period. Like, I want that in every program that's ever been created. It just feels so tactile to be able to like pull forward and throw it back. Throw it back in Illustrator on iPad. Right? It's nice to be able to like have that tactile. I like working with a trackpad even on desktop. And so something about the iPad workflow feels so fulfilling and so satisfying when I can just grab that and kind of drag back and forth.
Just move it. It also, I'll show you a little later on, it also works for kerning when you are working with text.
Yes.
So it's kind of, there's like a similar sort of feature and function here, which we will get into. But it is so nice to be able to have this nice little toolbar, here, so I don't have to go into menus.
It's right there, and we do have someone popping in to our live chat over on Behance. His name is Bob Fisher. Hi, Bob. Bob says,
Hi, Bob.
I watch these all the time, and this is my first time watching on Behance.
Welcome,
Bob.
Bob.
Welcome. Hello. Welcome to the
ya.
party. Okay, I keep hitting the wrong button. I'm so sorry about that, everyone. You're seeing
right.
glimpses behind the scenes. All right, Val, let's keep going here and get some blushes on there.
So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to mirror what I have created. Now you could work, from scratch with the mirroring already on and be designing with a mirrored view of things as you go. But sometimes I like to just create my little component of, whatever I'm doing and build all the pieces and then go ahead and mirror it, which is what I've done here. And since I am working organized with my groups and stuff, instead of selecting all of these pieces individually, it's all in its own little folder here, so I can just select the folder. It selects everything that I need right here, and I can come down to my repeat bar here, and there's a lot of different things in here. So we can use radial, which we will get into a little bit later. You could use the grid, like a repeat grid. If anyone is familiar with like Adobe XD, it's very similar to repeat grid. But we are going to mirror it, which allows me to just work right here, mirrored, which is awesome. And I'm just going to grab this little arm here and go ahead and space it out from itself here. I'm going to zoom out. Let's go ahead and zoom out just so I can get a little more space. And I think I might want even more space in between all these. So what I'm going to do, I'll kind of like go through and show you some other little things that you can do. So I can grab this top here.
I don't know if you could mirror on an angle.
Yeah, and this is the cool part here. So as I start to encroach upon, it does not show, look at how it disappears.
It
does not show things happening behind it. So it's not like you're just rotating a thing. It's like really, truly mirroring this.
Mirroring, yeah.
Which is just really awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and space this out. I think that's kind of a good space there. And then what I'm going to do is make sure that I have all of this selected. And I'm going to come over here to my object, and I'm going to go ahead and expand just so that I'm working out of mirror now. I don't want to, kind of go back into mirror because this is good enough for me here. I will kind of move this and just snap it to the center of my little pot. And we're gonna need a mouth. We are definitely going to need a mouth for this. So what I'm going to do is very quickly, again with the shape builder tool, is I'm going to snag a little rectangle. I don't want to put this on the pot. I want to make sure that this is in my
face
my
layer
here.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you're struggling to illustrate and you're like, oh no, I have to draw something and grab the pen tool and all that stuff, try to break it down and think of it as if using like building blocks, right? I always think of Illustrator as like being in kindergarten and having those little blocks of different shapes and like, how do you put these together to make something? And so remember that you can round the corners and that you can combine shapes. And usually those two things are going to get you any shape that you want. And especially making a cute little mouth like this, right? All it is two rectangles that have been rounded, right? So you can really play around, kind of create whatever you want just using those shapes, especially on iPad. It makes it super quick, super fast, and hopefully keeps it very accessible for you to make changes, to augment, and kind of land on where you want it to be in the end.
So I'm using these shapes here just as like kind of a guide because we're going to use the shape builder tool. So I want to cut the top off of this little rounded rectangle shape that I've created.
Or he just has a little mustache.
Or he has a mustache. Yeah, he could have a mustache. Mustaches are super cool. I love mustaches. So I'm gonna just go ahead and kind of drop that down just like that. And I've kind of shrunk in this other duplication of this. I'll make that dark too. And you can see what I'm going for here. It's just that little tiny smiley face. So now if I hold and go ahead and select everything, I can enter into my shape builder here. And I'm just going to group that together and then drag a line through it and create my little smiley face.
Little smiley face.
It's adorable. And I might make this just a little bit larger and then just kind of put this. I feel like if you're going to do a character with giant eyes, the smaller the mouth is and the closer it is to being in between the eyes, the more adorable the face is.
Yes.
I feel like those are the rules.
Yes. The nose to mouth ratio is the cuteness level.
Yes.
Yep.
100%. It needs to be close enough that the mouth almost looks like the nose. That's how we do.
Absolutely. And someone in the live chat is saying, Alessandra Lopez is saying, I'm creating a design in Illustrator right now too. Great. Thanks for designing along with us. If you want to, one of our moderators in the chat will post a link to the Discord for Illustrator. In that Discord, you can post what you're working on right now and show us what you're working on as well, because we'd love to see it. We're all about community, all about kind of creativity for all. So if you're designing something, toss it in the Discord. Let us know. And maybe we'll show it at the end of the stream. Who knows?
Yeah.
Let us know what you're working on.
So I've got my face, I've got my pot. I think everything is super adorable, but we need to kind of put something in this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of jump back to my favorite tool, which is the pencil tool, and we're going to start creating some groups of different plants and things in our pot. So I'm going to, as I said, I'm going to kind of jump over here, make sure I'm selected on my pencil tool. I've created a new group just with my plus button up there, and I am going to select one of my lovely green shades like so. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start creating myself like a little aloe plant, which I think would be adorable. So I'm just, gonna start kind of drawing these little shapes in here, just like so.
OMG, it's so cute.
Oh my goodness.
It was bad. I'm sorry, everyone.
I respect you for it. I liked it. I liked it.
To.
I'm biased, but I liked it. So we've got a little aloe plant in here, and you can see I've got, just my group here. We are going to come back to it because it needs a little spiciness to it. We gotta kind of make this look like it's not just some simple shapes that are thrown in there. A lot of the building blocks of this project, are a lot of simple shapes, but we are going to give it some pizzazz in a little bit. I just want to add in our other major plant shapes first. So the next thing we're going to do is, again, with the pencil tool, and I've created myself, I've just used my plus button here in my layers to create myself a new space for this. I'm going to grab this nice light orange color. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag out a couple of different kinds of plants and things that we can jump in with like the radial tool and kind of add some pizzazz to.
Ooh.
So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do like this kind of business right here. I'm just going to kind of come
And
around.
a great mindset to work is as you're looking at this, we know that we're using the radial. The best thing about Illustrator, I think, is if you're going to do something multiple times, do it once and then use a tool. There's a tool for like replication, rotation, all that stuff. So never do anything more than once, even the face, right? We drew one eye and the blush and then just mirrored it. So just do it once and then figure out the tool to help you scale it out, which is what we're gonna be doing right here, right? Is building one thing and then using the radials to kind of play around with it, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I'm gonna put in another stem here, and then we're gonna start creating some bursts here on the end. So I've created this, and you can see I've used the pencil tool to kind of create my shape, and then I've come in with my selection tool just so I can kind of jump in with all of these points, and I can start to edit these a little bit. And another thing that is just so cool about this is, look at that. It gives me an actual handle at the points of my custom shapes and forms here, so that I can kind of round that out real quick and just make everything look very cohesive, very nice. So we've got one of those, and I can edit a little bit more if I want to, and really give some detail for this, maybe some more curves and turns. But I think this is good for this shape, and I'll come back into my pencil tool, and I feel like we need another little guy right here.
Shoop. And the
I'll
nice
just
thing
do
about
that.
using the pencil tool is you don't have to be perfect because you can go in and change those anchor points after the fact.
Yes.
So it's almost just like sketching it out, and then you can go in and just drag things out to where you want it to be. And Becca Smith, Bex, is saying, "Oh no, I'm late." Hi, Val and Andrew. Hi, Bex. You're not late.
Hi.
Whenever you arrive, the party starts. So we're just getting started here. That's what it is. If you're just joining us, we are working on Illustrator on iPad. We're here with Voodoo Val, the one and only, and we are creating the buttons. We are creating a cute little plant over here on iPad on the go. If we wanted to, we could be doing this stream on a plane. We could be doing it on a train. We could be doing it in a car. That's what I love is you can kind of take creativity wherever you want to go with Illustrator on iPad.
Yep. And I think for me, I would probably be doing this on the train or on a plane flying to SoCal or wherever. And it's so easy to do and so convenient. And then also there's cloud documents. So if I need to, when I get to where I'm going, jump on my desktop, I can just, kind of port that over there, select it from my cloud documents, and it kind of work wherever I need to go. So very, very cool. So we've got these two stems in here, and we're going to create like just a simple burst of like seeds or flower bits around the edges of these. So what I'm going to do is select my ellipse tool here, and I'm going to kind of zoom in here just so we can really see what I'm going to do. And I'm going to create just a little kind of an oval here. And what I'm going to do with this oval is I'm going to come over here to my radial repeat and hit radial, and you can see that that adds kind of a radial burst of what I have been working on. And so I can also add, if I drag this right hand handle here, I can add more or I can add less. I can kind of do whatever I think is necessary for this piece. I can also kind of rotate it around. So if I want it to be extra fancy, I can go ahead and do that. If I want these things to be kind of slanted sideways. And I'm going to go ahead and just select my selection tool and kind of drag this over here. And this is cool. This is all well and good. I can kind of shrink this down and create this little burst here. But what I really want to do is I want to use these brackets, because if you watch this, I can actually take this bracket and I can start making them disappear so that I'm only showing them on one side. So I'll go ahead, I think maybe I'll add up to there on this side, and then I'll bring this around and add up to right there, just so that it really kind of hugs the shape of whatever element I am kind of relating it to in my piece. And then I will just do a quick duplication so that I can kind of bring this over here.
And again, do something once and then use tools. We've literally made one ellipse. That's all that this is we've made like one circle-y thing. And now there's a whole bunch of them. It's on a rotate. It's just using tools to leverage when you're kind of designing at scale like this. And you get really cool effects like this with very minimal effort. Like that was so easy for us.
Yeah, and it's cute, you know, just a cute little detail there, which is a very fun. You can also come in and select this, and I could alter this, so I can still come in and edit the original shape if I want to. So once you enter this radial repeat, you're not constrained to only use exactly what you've put down. You can go in and edit what you have created, and those are good for me. I really like them. I think that, you know, we have a time frame that we're working within today. I think maybe I would go later on and add some more little details, but I do want to add some more plants over here on the side real quick, and then get into some color and some text and things before we have to go today.
And yeah, for a time check, we've got about 25 minutes left here together. Okay. But for those of you watching, you have all day. There is great content coming to you on Adobe Live, behance.net/Adobe Live. If you want to tune in after this stream, come hang out with us. We got great content all day, including at 11:30 a.m. Pacific time, some Illustrator 3D. If you want to join me today, we're doing 3D typography today. I'll be teaching that at 11:30 a.m. Shameless plug. Not afraid of the hard
sell. So you're doing the 11:30 stream, and as soon as the stream ends, 30 minutes later, I will be hosting for some awesome illustration, drawing, and painting.
So just stick around all day for all of your creative inspiration with Andrew and Val.
Yes, hang out with us today.
Yeah, where are we going next?
So I'm going to do some more little interesting arms. This is like a kind of a favorite plant shape for me for this project. And I think that it works well with like our theme of succulents, but I'm just going to go ahead and kind of throw a couple of shapes just like this.
And we're just using those colors from the library again to kind of pull these through.
Yep, and what I would like to do here is, and this is just kind of, I suppose, maybe an example of how fast this can be and how easily you can really make something look, you know, just kind of get your ideas down, is with the pencil tool still, I'm going to come in and I'm going to add some leaves to this. And I think of all the plants that I have planned to do today, this is the one that looks the most like some of my favorite succulents. So I'm really excited just to come in like this. Let me go ahead.
It's giving me like the the Hello Kitty version of Audrey 2 from Little Shop of Horrors. Like, it's like very cute, but it's got the like tendrils, like feed me Seymour. Like, it's definitely got the vibes.
I'm gonna I think what I'm gonna do is do one so that we're not doing so many pieces. Cool. I'm just gonna go ahead and do one that's like kind of wild and crazy, like just kind of a big long guy here. So that we can kind of show this off. And this is one of my favorite points as well for a lot of the colors that we're going to be using, because we're going to be diving into some gradients, editing our solid colors, and using my favorite gradient types for, you know, I'll show them all off, but we are definitely going to hyper focus on some of my favorites for today. And this is, I think that this particular choice of shape is going to lend itself really well. So let me just kind of bring these points in here just to edit it and make it a little bit smooth. And it's looking a little funky right now. Bear with me, folks. I'm going to go ahead and
we're good. We're vibing. We are saying hello to Oka Veeks. Hello. Sorry, that one threw me for a loop. Nice to see you. Just popped into our live chat. Hi there. Welcome to the stream. We're working on Illustrator on iPad today.
Woo! All right, so we've got this in here. I am going to make this a much lighter green, and then I am going to make sure that in my layer here, I'm going to kind of create a layer that is a bunch of like succulent leaves. So I'll go ahead, I'm just going to, with my pen tool, I'm just going to kind of create a little burst like that, and we're going to make it pink. And I'm going to kind of reorder this here. And so what I'm going to do is just underneath here is I'm just going to come through and I'm going to start making this look like, I'm sure this is starting to look a little bit familiar to any of you who are familiar with succulents. I'm just going to start adding this in and kind of creating these little blips of pops of color on here just to make it nice and cute.
So fun.
And we'll kind of stagger these on the other side just to kind of throw them in there. Very quick.
What tool are you using the pencil tool here as well?
Yep.
Cool.
This is the pencil tool as well. And you can see on the right-hand side as I start to work, I'm just creating individual little shapes and things, which if you wanted to, you could come in and edit them individually, which is why I'm kind of doing it this way, just so I have like all of these set up here, like so. I probably won't edit them individually here, but we are going to edit the stem. So I'm going to collapse this group and I'm going to go ahead and drag this, I think, behind our aloe plant, just so that it's kind of peeking out back there. And so we have this. The last thing I'm going to do plant-wise is I'm going to just drag like a little, I think the most, aside from aloe, the most recognizable kind of succulent is actually called hens and chickens. And
it's called hens and chickens?
It's called hens and chickens.
All
the little tiny one that's like a bowl that has all the pointies on top. It's called hens and chickens.
I had a neighbor bring me one of those as a welcome gift, and I thought that it was fake until it died.
Oh, no! And I'm just gonna do, it's a very simple hens and chickens. I'm just gonna do a little, you know, like just a little nice thing here. And I've chosen to do that just so that we have something that covers up a lot of our little shapes and things.
Yep. And that's the great thing about working, especially with the pencil tool and working in layers, is if you know that something is not going to be showing, you don't have to worry about it being perfect, right? And you can hide it with something like this. Let's put a shape over it. Let's put a texture on it. You can really hide that with the guise of creativity to really just hide your mistakes, but it does make it a better composition sometimes.
Yeah, and so I didn't really worry too much over all of those little pieces where they connected there, because I know that I'm going to put this here. And so now that we have all this stuff, how are we doing on time, by the way?
We are doing fantastic. We got about 20 minutes left here on the stream together.
Perfection. So I'm going to start going in and dropping some color and really kind of noodling with the vibe of this, because I think that it's very cute. I really do. But it needs a little something so that it doesn't look like flat shapes. And the first thing I think that I would like to create is I'm just going to throw just separate from everything is I'm just going to throw a nice large shape in the back just for like a temporary background. I'm going to make this like a dark purple, which I think would contrast really nice with our colors here. So it's just, it's kind of warm, like a really dark plum color there.
It's like a cute little jack-o'-lantern. It's like a hip,
it does kind of look
fun jack-o'-lantern that like has succulents in a jack-o'-lantern.
Maybe we should make it a pumpkin. Maybe we should make it like the bottom of a pumpkin.
Why not?
I feel like
if we have time, let's definitely transform into pumpkin. It's a
Halloween
Halloween stream now, y'all.
Right now.
Okay,
actually.
let's do it.
We can totally do this. So, and I'm gonna do this with some colors, obviously, and we're gonna get into the gradients. But real quick, I bet you didn't expect this, the pen tool or the pencil tool. I'm gonna just grab the color. Let me go ahead and I'll make the shape first and then we'll recolor it. I'm just going to go like this and I'm going to drag out these little pieces like so. And I'm going to use my eyedropper tool and just drag this over to this brown.
Yep.
And I'll just make a few of these. Let's make this a pumpkin. We are taking suggestions from Andrew on the fly and we will make this a little jack-o'-lantern.
Just know that I never have to suggest Halloween. Just know that it's constantly in my heart. It is Halloween every day in my heart. Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. Mine too.
This is right.
Okay, so we've got these little shapes. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just long press here and I'm going to go ahead and select all of these. If I can select all of them, let me make sure I'm actually on my selection tool. On the
selection tool, there we go.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that I...
Where's our MVP? On the lookout.
Yeah. I think what I'm going to do now is make sure I'm also selected on our piece here. I'm going to go ahead and go into our shape builder tool and I'll hit shape builder at the top there. And we should enter into our shape builder mode and I'm just going to start dragging.
And you can just click and you're basically just erasing those to say, hey, this little part that's outside of this, get rid of it.
Yep. And there we go. So now we have like these little lines, and I think what would look good is if I'm going to go ahead and hit done, make sure you hit done, and I am going to make sure that I click off of our little pot color here, and then I am going to, with just our little paths selected, is I think I would like to kind of make them fainter.
Pumpkin.
Yes, he's very cute. He's very cute. So
we're in.
now
All right,
just
let's do
have
some
these little
gradients.
shapes.
Because
let's
colors
go
and
for
gradients.
it.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So with our pot selected, what I'm going to do is come over here, and I'm going to switch into gradient from solid color, and I'm actually going to use these live gradients, and you can see that it kind of gives me a couple of points of color here, and I can select on these individually and change the color. So if I select like this dark orange, and then maybe I drag this over and get myself like a warmer dark orange, maybe we kind of bring it down into some red. I feel like I'm going to throw this
Ooh, yeah.
over there, and then I'm going to bring this orange over here in, and I'm going to make this a little bit brighter, and I can start to just kind of like alter this just to suggest more of a 3D form, a 3D shape. I'm going to kind of shrink that down right there, just to kind of make it look a little more like it's got a little bit of depth and dimension to it.
And what we're using here, this is the freeform gradient tool. And as you see those little dots, if you're not familiar with the freeform gradient tool, I'll always think of it as water balloons. Like think of it that you're like standing above it, you have a water balloon filled with that color, and you drop it, and then that color explodes into whatever zone. And so as you drag that little circle out and in, it's going to give you more of that color, right? You're just making a bigger water balloon to hit that space. And so it helps to kind of mesh those colors together.
And you can also tap and add another color here if we want to add another color. So maybe I add this warmer orange and just kind of drag it, and I can expand. Actually, that doesn't look so bad expanded like that, just so it's not as dramatic. We've got some little lighting points here, but they aren't as I guess intrusive to what we're doing. It's not so dramatic as far as the colors we're choosing. So maybe we can do that and just kind of give it a little, a little bit of depth, which is fun.
Yes, someone is saying the plumpification. Yes, it is a plumpkin.
The plumpification. Yes, a plumpkin. And I'll do the same thing here with my gradients. Now here, what we could do is we could just do, like your handy dandy gradient that a lot of people are probably familiar with.
Little linear.
Linear gradient here, and I can snag like a bright color. This is actually, I need to kind of rotate this around. I guess I didn't have to. I could have just swapped, but I want to go ahead and make this the brighter color, and then we'll snag a darker color here, and I'm going to move that back just like that, because what I want is I want for there to be like a brighter color here, and I want that darker color to start encroaching upon the edges, and I can move my little handle here to kind of start bringing that that kind of control how the color fades, and then I think for our kind of backdrop to our dirt here. Is, if I can select this stuff, I think what I'm going to do is just make this a darker color. I don't think that I am going to create a gradient for that one. I think I'm just going to kind of leave that there. It's not really a focal point of the piece. So we have that. This one is one of my favorites to be able to do with these little pink colors. So if we kind of come in and throw a gradient on this as well, I am going to use my little points here just so that I can really kind of augment how the color flows around this organic piece. I'm going to make this kind of a dark green, and this tip here will kind of fade into a pink.
Ooh, cool. And we have a question real quick from Ariona Slater saying, what's it called when the gradient and the pumpkin stripes fall only on the pumpkin and not on the face and background? I think that maybe what you're looking for is a clipping mask, that it's kind of clipped into that shape. We actually use the shape builder tool to create and kind of cut out those pieces. So we use the shape builder tool. You also could use a clipping mask, which is basically like just cutting out a window so that it only works in that shape. If you're on desktop, you also could use draw inside is another tool that you could use as well. So all of those are kind of different ways to get to the effect that we're using here.
So I've kind of created this. I like that it kind of like fades up into this orange color, which that is good for me. I'll throw some very quick gradients here on these little pieces too.
Yes.
And then we are going to get into kind of editing some text and things, because I do want to kind of
Sweet.
create some more text elements here for our piece.
And
We're
we've got
also
about 10
going
minutes
to...
left on time
Okay.
check.
All right, cool. I will kind of speed this up. Maybe I will just do this center here and
And
or just do like a couple of taps.
yeah,
for
using the
these.
freeform gradient tool, again, if you use those basic shapes and you toss freeform gradients on it, it's going to look like you're an amazing illustrator. Like, just using the freeform gradient, it gives you so much depth and it makes it feel like you've created, you know, this like 3D render and like all, and it's really just like, cool, it's two colors and a simple shape.
Yeah.
And so really leverage the freeform gradient tool. It's semi-new, it's newer of the gradients. It is the newest gradient. And it is so helpful to be able to create that depth without having to do a mesh or something crazy. Just use the freeform gradient tool.
It's a lot of fun. And I just want to kind of do like a very gradual little fade here. I think that's good enough. I won't focus on it too much. The last thing that I will add gradients to, which I think is just really fun as far as the shape, is if I do add this freeform gradient here, I can put a base color at the bottom here, which I think is really fun, and kind of expand that out. And maybe we make this like a dark color. And then what I want to do is I just want to like put a little tiny bit of light on the tips of these here. So I don't know if we could, let's just go ahead and use like maybe a yellow, just to kind of, you know, change these to a yellow. Maybe we kind of fade it into orange. It could be fun, but I just think that it's kind of a fun shape to do that with. And I think it does take a little finessing and you know,
and you can really see how the freeform gradient's working there. Like it's with each of those fingers kind of coming out, you can really see that it is hitting each of those points with the center one fading into those points.
Yeah, and it's a lot of fun. It's super fun just to kind of mess around with these. I'm going to leave it alone for now, I think, and maybe I could turn the opacity down. That's one thing, is you can come in and turn the opacity down for each of these pieces if you do want to, which is kind of fun. But I'll leave this, and we're going to add some text into this, because I want to make sure that we get into a little bit of text before
10 minutes of text.
Take off. Yep. So let me go ahead, and I'm going to actually add the text. I think it would be appropriate if we threw it in on our little background layer here, or group here, because I think that it's, you know, it's where all of our non-illustrative things are. And what I'm going to do is, just with my text tool, which I will click, I'm going to go ahead and tap here, and go ahead and add a text region, and I will scroll through. You can see all of our little settings kind of come up here on the side, and I'm going to make this orange. I'll go ahead and double tap here, and what I'm going to write is, I'm just going to write SF Design Week, and this is going to be like a little title for us. And so I did promise that we were going to kind of mess with our little kerning tools and things here. So I'll just kind of throw this up here. And what I'm going to do is, I am going to make this smaller, just because I want this to be kind of tiny up here at the top. And we're going to do more fanciful subtitle down at the bottom. But here, you'll probably recognize this icon. We can just snag that to control the kerning, and then just drag left and right to decide how far away we want these to be, and I can come back and kind of move things around. But I think that is good. I just want this to be like a heading here, so people know, you know, I did this for SF Design Week. And then lastly, what I'd like to do is, I want to add a title that just says The Joyful Pot, or The Joyful Plumpkin, I think is probably what we're calling it now.
I think the Plumpkin, it needs to live on forever.
Yes, and I am going to, I guess technically I could just duplicate this. We've been trying to kind of do that throughout our projects, and not recreate and go from scratch from things if we've already created in our project. I will go ahead and kind of turn that down here. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to select and just kind of draw out an ellipse like so. And I'm going to alter this just with make sure I have my selection tool here. I'm just going to make sure that this makes the shape on the bottom here that I want to bend my text to, just like that. And then I'm going to actually turn the color off so you can't see this. And then in my layers here, I will make sure I have my ellipse selected, and I will make sure I have my my text here. Let's actually go ahead and edit our text though before we get ahead of ourselves so that it actually says the joyful plumpkin.
And as you're working on this, if you're trying to talk about it or figure out what terminology to use, that circle that we just created is going to be a spine. That's what you'd refer to it as a spine. And so as you add that text, you are applying the text to the spine. And so you'll see like type on a path, that kind of things. So what the text is following is just a spine. It helps when you're not talking about like, this is a shape, it's just a spine. So that's why it's see-through, is because we're just using it as a spine.
So I've got my my spine selected, and I've got the joyful plumpkin here, and I'm just going to come over to text, and you can see I have an option to do type on a path. And it's thrown this on here, and you can't really see it because it is kind of hiding there. But we can bring this down here so that it kind of makes an arch, and then I can just push upward, and it will allow me to do this in the opposite direction, which is cool. And I can come in here, and I just would kind of like to make this a little bit larger and go ahead and kind of throw this underneath. I think I need to kind of pull it to the side just to center it, and so we can have like a nice little title under there, and I think it would be nice to maybe alter our text, you know, just our fonts, and just kind of create kind of a different vibe here, because I think this is a pretty harsh font for what we're working with. And I think I might have used one that I liked this Karl Marx here for just just because it has like those nice round, it's kind of cute.
If you're looking for more fonts, you can grab Adobe fonts. Adobe fonts are always available to you, fonts.adobe.com. And there are a whole bunch of options in here on Illustrator on iPad. Indeed. That is a really cute font for that.
I think it's perfect, honestly. So we've got our joyful plumpkin, we've got our little title, so everybody knows we did this for SF Design Week. We've got our little illustration going in here, which I think is so cute. And how much time do we have? Do I have time to like add another gradient or so?
We've got 3 minutes. Let's go for it.
Okay.
YOLO.
I would like to just add a tiny little blush of pink to the ends of these here, because I think that would be very fitting. So I'm just gonna let's actually leave it on this like the base of that orange color, and then I am going to kind of blush it right there. We'll kind of shrink this in, and maybe I will bring this up here just to kind of I guess choke the color right there so that it just stays the way that I like it.
This really is the perfect kind of example of using those gradients. Is the gradations that you see in plants are so hard to get if you were trying to paint them or draw them in, and it's so easy with the freeform gradient tool.
It's really satisfying too when you have like an organic shape like this that you're just trying to, maneuver into making it look like it has a fade, instead of just, doing a linear gradient on something. You can really have these colors follow that shape and look very unique, which is just a lot of fun. So yeah, I think this is adorable. It's a more simple project to do, but I feel like hopefully, especially those of you who are maybe unfamiliar with using Illustrator on the iPad, you could jump in here and feel confident just using some of the simple shapes and things to create something substantial. I'm trying to center our...
So we get a little bit of that jack-o'-lantern glow.
Oh my gosh,
it felt like that's what we needed. So we haven't talked about blending modes pretty much at all, but blending modes modes are basically ways for colors to interact with each other. And so when you use them with gradients, you can get really nice glows. You can get really nice kind of transitions of color. And so to give our plumpkin that jack-o'-lantern glow, we can just do a gradient of yellow, and then we'll change the blending mode.
I do actually have, let me go ahead and, sorry, I kind of cut you off there.
You're good.
I was thinking out loud. I think I do have a shape underneath these. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to select both of these at once and edit them on their own and kind of do the blending mode over the shape that's already underneath them. So I'm selecting them both, and it's the same shape and they're the same color, so I can kind of come in here, and then with our linear gradient, I can go ahead and kind of alter this if I want, like so. And I honestly, that green, I might choose a different color green, but I almost feel like the green might work as long as it's a green that's similar to what we've been using. I wonder if that would be interesting. Honestly, that almost looks good.
Yep, it's got us a little bit of dimension.
And then I wonder, I feel like it needs to be like this deep yellow here, so that it just, it has a little tiny bit of dimension. And then we can come in with those still selected. And I should, be able to come over here and kind of play with the, honestly, overlay makes it warm. And I kind of like it. It's very subtle, but I think it could be fun. Let me see, probably color. Well, color
burn's going to be intense, yeah.
Right. But I mean, overlay works. Multiply is a little scary, but maybe this pumpkin is, he's
spooky.
He's coming out of a bad day.
Yep.
He's got some hollow eyes, but I think I like the overlay just to kind of thin it up.
Yep. So let's do one big zoom out and kind of show what we created today. We made a joyful little plumpkin for you, all of you at SF Design Week. All right, Val.
So cute.
Well, thanks for designing with us today. This was super fun. Where can people find you, kind of get connected to you?
If you want to head over to my Behance, check out my Behance. I'm also on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to talk to me and like hang out and ask me questions, let me know what your favorite Star Wars character is. That's Twitter for me. Definitely over there. But I'm also hanging around in the chat here at Adobe Live a lot. So, if you see me, holler at me, say hi. I'd love to talk to you folks.
Yep.
This was fun.
This was fun. So wherever you're watching, stick around because we have more great content coming to you always, all the time. And if you want to hang out with Val and I, we'll be here all day. So we will see you all later. Thanks so much for joining us, and happy SF Design Week. Bye, everybody.